100. 2000. I don't know. We celebrate the red, white, and blue.
Oh, it was really good. I liked it. Very educational, and it has a lot of the stuff that you need to know.
I liked it.
It's really great and tells you a lot about history, and that it's a great video to watch, and it teaches you all about the freedom and when it happened. It was catchy. I liked about how it shared all the history and shared all the founders. It was funny and the drawings were good.
That's cool.
I think it's a great summary and just reminds them of just that important time in our history.
I think it would be very helpful. It's very informative. It's very concise and to the point. So I think it will really help fill in any gaps or maybe even bring full attention to what they may not have even learned.
I think it draws kids in. It's catchy. There's rhyming. And I think the pictures were fun for them.
It's short but sweet, and it really gives you a good sense of the history. But honestly, I probably would just forward to everybody on my phone.
Oh my goodness, I just saw the cutest little snippet that tells you all about the founding of America, and it's super important for your kids to see it because they may not know all this information. And it was really done well, and it was very cute and attractive and very engaging. So, and then I would pass it on and say, must watch.
Throughout the years of history's course, kings and dictators ruled by force. They'd sit on their throne in their ivory tower, ruling the people with absolute power. The rulers made rules and the people obeyed. They did as they're told and their taxes they paid. They never were free to choose their own king. They had little say in anything. King George of England liked it that way and gave his colonies rules to obey. Of course, in keeping with English tradition, the king was also in charge of religion. The king declared, "There'll be no debate. I'll be in charge of the church and the state. Those in my church must do what I say, from the taxes they pay to the prayers that they pray." The colonists groaned from all the taxation without having any representation. This was the problem they set out to fix, July 4th, 1776. New Yorkers, Rhode Islanders, Georgians, Virginians, they all met together to share their opinions. They pondered the country they always had wanted, and despite opposition, continued undaunted. A bold new idea then started to hatch. They decided to start a new country from scratch. The Founding Fathers agreed resolutely. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. When people have power, it goes to their head. We'll put our trust in God's wisdom instead. They had an idea that was visionary and completely revolutionary. You think it could work? And do you suppose? What if our leaders were people we chose? Someday we'll put on our hats and our coats, we'll go into town and all cast our votes. They dreamed of the day no one could refuse to let people worship however they choose. If freedom to exercise faith is constricted, the trampling of all rights would be unrestricted. Man's freedom to worship we'll always respect. That's the first right we plan to protect. Baptist, Catholic, Jewish, or Quaker, that's only between a man and his maker. That day they announced a new declaration. We're not just some colonies, now we're a nation. We'll ask God to bless us. On this we agree. Let's call it America, land of the free. A brand new country was founded that day. All who were there shouted, "Hip, hip, hooray!" Freedom from tyranny finally would come. They marched through the streets with a fife and a drum. The people cheered and songs were sung, jigs were danced and bells were rung. We'll no longer be oppressed by the king. In all towns and villages, let freedom ring. When King George heard it, he threw a fit. He was determined to make them submit. I'll never set those colonies free. They'll always have to answer to me. And then, after blowing his royal top, he sent out his redcoats to make it stop. It took 7 years for the fighting to cease, till at last America finally had peace. Our brave soldiers would pave the way for freedom to flourish still even today. Our founders should all be familiar to you. Washington, Jefferson, Hamilton too. Madison, Adams, Franklin, and more. Protecting freedom is what they stood for. Ever since the day of America's birth, there's not a country quite like it on earth. The nation they started is not perfect yet, but about as close as a country can get. The taxes have never quite gone away, but religious liberty is here to stay. One thing's for sure, and this is a must. We'll only survive if in God we trust.